Hello, everyone. Love romantic lesbian stories with deep emotions and a little spice? Then you're in the right place. Some exclusive, bold stories can't be shared on YouTube, so they're waiting for you on my Patreon. Join now, link in the description. Don't miss out.
The first time I saw her, it didn't feel important. That's what I told myself later, at least. It was just another crowded house party, the kind you go to because your friends drag you along, promising you'll finally have fun for once. I stood near the balcony most of the time, pretending to scroll through my phone, watching people laugh too loudly, act too freely, live in a way I never quite understood how to. I wasn't shy. Not really. I just never felt like I belonged in places like that. Emily, at least pretend you're enjoying yourself. My friend Rachel nudged me, grinning. I am. I lied. And then I saw her. She wasn't doing anything dramatic. She wasn't the loudest or the center of attention. In fact, she was sitting quietly on the arm of a couch, listening more than talking. But something about her felt different. Calm, steady, like she wasn't trying to be anyone else. Our eyes met for just a second. She didn't look away immediately, like most people do. She held the gaze, then smiled. Not a big smile, just a small one. Like she already knew something about me I didn't. I looked away first. I don't know how much time passed after that. Maybe minutes. Maybe an hour. But suddenly she was standing next to me on the balcony, like she had always been there. You don't like crowds either, she said. It wasn't a question. I turned, a little startled. Is it that obvious? Only to someone who feels the same way. Her voice was soft. Not weak, just calm. Grounded. I'm Emily, I said. Lena. Her name stayed in my mind longer than it should have. We talked. About nothing important, really. College stress, family expectations, the weird pressure of figuring out life when you're barely an adult. But somehow, it didn't feel like small talk. It felt like relief. Like I could breathe. At some point, I laughed. A real laugh. The kind that surprises you because you forgot you were capable of it. She noticed. You look different when you laugh, she said. Better or worse? I asked, half joking. More like yourself. That should have been the moment I realized something was changing. But I didn't. Not yet. The night blurred after that. People moving in and out, music getting louder, Rachel texting me where I disappeared. And then suddenly, Lena was pulling me gently toward a quieter hallway. Too loud, she said simply. I followed without thinking. There was a small room at the end of the hall, empty, dimly lit. We stood there for a second, neither of us speaking. My heart was beating faster, and I didn't know why. Emily, she said softly. Yeah, you ever feel like you're living the life everyone expects, but not the one you actually want? The question hit too close. All the time, I admitted. She stepped closer. Not suddenly. Not aggressively. Just closer. I could feel the shift in the air. That quiet tension that doesn't need words. I don't usually do this, she murmured. Do what? I whispered, even though I already knew. She didn't answer. She just kissed me. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't messy. It was careful, like she was asking a question without words. And for a second I froze. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. Not to me. Not like this. But then something inside me, something I had been ignoring for years, finally stopped resisting. And I kissed her back. It felt right. That's the only way I can explain it. Not shocking. Not confusing. Just right. When she pulled away, my mind finally caught up with reality. What was that? I breathed. She looked at me, and for the first time, I saw something uncertain in her eyes. Something I probably shouldn't have done, she said quietly. Why? Because you're the kind of person who thinks about things deeply, and I'm the kind who disappears. I frowned. That's not funny. I'm not joking. Before I could respond, there were voices in the hallway. People coming closer. Lena stepped back. Wait, I said quickly. Can I at least? Emily, she interrupted gently. Some moments are meant to stay just moments. And then she was gone. Just like that. No number. No explanation. Nothing. For weeks, I told myself it didn't matter. It was just a random night, just a mistake. But every time I closed my eyes, I felt it again, that quiet certainty, that feeling of being seen in a way no one had ever seen me before. I tried to date. Not seriously, just casually, to prove to myself that I was fine, that I hadn't changed. But every conversation felt empty. Every smile felt forced, because none of them were her. And I didn't even know why that mattered so much. Months passed. Life moved on the way it always does, slowly, then all at once. I focused on my studies, helped my parents at home, ignored the quiet questions growing in my mind about who I really was. Until the day everything changed again. Emily helped me with the boxes. My mom called from downstairs. "We have new neighbors moving in." I sighed, tying my hair back. Coming. I stepped outside, not expecting anything, not expecting her. But then I heard that voice again. Soft. Familiar. Unmistakable. Careful with that one. It's heavier than it looks. My hands froze. My heart stopped. Slowly, I turned. And there she was, Lena, standing in my driveway like she had never left. For a second, neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. The world felt too quiet. "You've got to be kidding me," I whispered. She smiled. That same small, knowing smile. "Hi, Emily." I walked toward her, my emotions hitting me all at once. Shock, anger, confusion, something deeper I couldn't name. "You disappeared," I said. "I did. And now you're just here? Next door?" "Looks like it." "That's not an answer." "I know." I searched her face, trying to understand. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you even leave a message?" She hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. "You didn't want to," I said quietly. "It wasn't that simple." "It felt simple from my side," I snapped. "You kiss me, then vanish like I meant nothing." Her expression changed slightly. Not defensive, not angry, just regretful. "You didn't mean nothing," she said softly. "Then what did I mean?" She didn't answer, and somehow that hurt more than anything. Days passed after that encounter, but things didn't go back to normal. Because how could they? She was right there, next door. Every morning, I'd see her leaving for work. Every evening, she'd be on her balcony, reading or just staring at the sky. And every time our eyes met, it felt unfinished. Like a sentence that never got its ending. I tried to ignore her. I really did. But then one evening, I made a decision. A simple one. I was going on a date. Finally, Rachel cheered over the phone. "Took you long enough." "It's just coffee," I said. "Still counts." I dressed simply. Nothing too much. Just enough to feel normal. Like I was moving forward. Like I wasn't stuck in something that never even started. As I stepped out of the house, I saw her, leaning against the gate, waiting. My stomach dropped. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "Where are you going?" she countered. "That's none of your business." She stepped closer. "It is if you're going on a date." I blinked, stunned. "Excuse me? You shouldn't go." A small, disbelieving laugh escaped me. "And why exactly do you think you get to say that?" "Because I know it won't work." "You don't know anything about it." "I know you." "No, you don't," I shot back. "You kissed me once and disappeared. That's not knowing me." Her jaw tightened slightly. "Emily, please don't go." "Why?" I demanded. "Give me one good reason." She looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time, her voice wasn't calm. It was desperate. "Because I won't be able to watch you fall for someone else." Silence fell between us. My heart was racing again, but this time it wasn't confusion. It was something deeper, more dangerous, more dangerous. "Then maybe you shouldn't have left," I said quietly. Her eyes softened. "I know. Too late now." I stepped past her, but just as I reached the gate, her hand caught my wrist. Not forcefully, just enough to stop me. "Emily, I came back for a reason." I turned slowly. "Then you better start talking," I said. Because this time, I wasn't going to let her disappear again. And whatever this was between us, It wasn't over. Not even close. Then you better start talking. The words left my mouth sharper than I intended, but I didn't take them back. Lena didn't let go of my wrist immediately. Her grip wasn't tight. It was hesitant, like she was afraid that if she loosened it even a little, I'd disappear the way she once had. I came back because of you, she said. I frowned. That doesn't explain anything. It's the truth. That's not enough. She exhaled slowly, then finally let go of my wrist, but she didn't step away. Instead, she stayed right there in front of me, like she was forcing herself not to run this time. I didn't disappear because I wanted to, she said. I disappeared because I panicked.
About what?
I asked. About you. I laughed bitterly. That makes no sense. It does if you knew my life back then. I crossed my arms. Then tell me. For a moment, she just looked at me, like she was deciding how much of herself she was willing to give. My family found out, she finally said. My expression shifted. Found out what? That I liked girls. The sentence was simple, but the weight behind it wasn't. And, I asked carefully, and where I come from, that's not something you just admit and move on from, she said, her voice tightening slightly. It becomes your entire identity. Suddenly, everything you've ever done is questioned. Every choice is criticized. Every relationship is monitored. I stayed quiet. My parents didn't scream or throw me out, she continued. They did something worse. What? They acted like it was a phase that needed to be corrected. I felt something in my chest twist. They started planning things for me, introducing me to nice boys, controlling where I went, who I talked to. And that night when I met you, her voice softened. For the first time, I didn't feel confused. I didn't feel wrong. I just felt normal. My heart skipped. Then why leave? I whispered. Because that scared me more than anything, she admitted. Because if I stayed, I wouldn't have been able to pretend anymore. And I wasn't ready to fight my entire world for something I had only just begun to understand. Her honesty hit harder than any excuse could have. I thought if I walked away, it would fade, she said. That you would fade. And did I? I asked quietly. She looked straight into my eyes.
No.
The air between us grew heavier. I tried to move on, she continued. I did everything they wanted, met the people they chose, lived the life they expected, but nothing felt right anymore. Everything felt empty. Her voice broke slightly, but she didn't stop. And then one day I realized something. I wasn't scared of them. I was scared of losing myself. I swallowed.
So I left, she said.
I found a job here, a place to stay. And yeah, maybe it's a coincidence that it's next door to you. I raised an eyebrow. Okay, she admitted with a faint smile. Not a coincidence. Despite everything, I almost smiled back. Almost. You should have told me, I said instead. I know. You don't just get to disappear and then come back like nothing happened. I'm not asking for that, she said softly. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. I just didn't know how to come back without making things worse. Well, you're doing a great job of that right now, I muttered. She let out a small, humorless laugh. Yeah, I figured. We stood there in silence again. The date I was supposed to go on felt like a distant thought now. I should still go, I said suddenly, more to myself than to her. Her expression tightened again. Emily. No. I cut her off. You don't get to control this part of my life. I'm not trying to control you. It feels like it. She stopped herself, then tried again. I just don't want to lose you before I even get a chance to fix things. I shook my head. You already lost that chance when you left. The words came out harsh. And I regretted them immediately, because I saw the way they landed. Still, she didn't argue. Then let me earn another one, she said quietly. I hesitated. That wasn't what I expected her to say. You think it's that easy? I asked. No, she said. I think it's going to be really hard. And I think you're going to push me away a lot. And I probably deserve it. Then why bother? Because you're worth it. My chest tightened again. I hated how easily she could do that, say something simple, and make everything feel complicated. I still don't trust you, I admitted. You don't have to, she said. Not yet. And what if I never do? Then at least I'll know I tried. I looked at her for a long moment. Then, without saying anything else, I turned and walked out of the gate. This time, she didn't stop me. The date was a disaster. Not because the person was bad. She was kind, polite, easy to talk to. But the entire time, my mind wasn't there. It was back at the gate. Back with Lena. Back in that unfinished moment that refused to let me go. Are you okay? My date asked gently. Yeah. I lied again. But I was getting tired of lying. By the time I got home, it was late. The street was quiet, lights dimmed, the world finally at rest. Except for her. She was sitting on the low wall outside her house, like she had been waiting. I stopped a few steps away. You waited? I asked. She shrugged lightly. I had a feeling you'd come back early. That confident, huh? No, she said. Just hopeful. I hesitated, then walked closer. How is it? She asked carefully. I could have lied. I almost did. But instead I sighed. It was fine. Just fine. Yeah. She nodded slowly, like she already understood what that meant. I'm sorry, she said. For what? For making things harder for you. I shook my head. You didn't make them harder. You just complicated them. She gave a small smile. That sounds like me. For a moment, it almost felt normal again.
And that scared me.
You can't just wait for me like this, I said suddenly. Why not? Because it's not fair. To who?
To me, I said. To you.
To whatever this is. She stood up, stepping a little closer. Then tell me what you want this to be, she said. I opened my mouth and froze. Because I didn't know. Not fully. Not yet. I don't have an answer, I admitted. Then we figured out, she said. It's not that simple. I know, she replied. But it's not impossible either. Her confidence wasn't loud. It was quiet, steady, and somehow that made it harder to resist. Emily, she said softly, I'm not asking you to forgive me overnight. I'm not asking you to trust me immediately. I'm just asking for a chance to stay. To stay? I repeated. In your life, she said. Even if it's just as the girl next door who annoys you. I let out a small laugh despite myself. You're already doing that.
Good, she smiled.
That means I'm making progress. I roll my eyes, but something inside me felt lighter. Not fixed. Not resolved. But less heavy. Okay, I said finally. Her expression shifted slightly. Okay. Okay, you can stay. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't love. Not yet. But it was something. And sometimes something is enough to start. She smiled, this time a little brighter than before. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, I warned. You still have a lot to make up for. I planned to. And, for the first time since she came back, I believed her. But even as we stood there, under the quiet night sky, I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't going to be easy. Because loving someone isn't just about feelings. It's about timing.
Trust.
And the courage to stand against a world that doesn't always understand. And our world? It was just beginning to test us. Far more than either of us was ready for. The next few weeks didn't feel like a love story. They felt like work. Not the kind you complain about, but the kind that quietly tests how much something matters to you. Lena didn't try to rush anything. That surprised me the most. She didn't flirt the way she used to. Didn't corner me with intense conversations or emotional confessions. Instead, she showed up in smaller ways, consistent ways. She helped my mom carry groceries without being asked. She fixed the broken light outside our gate one evening while I was still figuring out how to even open the toolbox. She'd sit on the wall outside in the evenings, sometimes reading, sometimes just being there. And if I joined her, we talked. If I didn't, she never forced it. It was different. And slowly, without realizing it, I started looking for her. One evening, I came home exhausted. College had been overwhelming, assignments piling up, relatives constantly asking questions about my future, my plans, my marriage. I hated that word, Marriage. It always came with an unspoken rule. A husband. A life that never quite felt like mine. You look like you fought the entire world today, Lena said as I walked past her. Feels like I did, I muttered, dropping my bag beside me as I sat down on the wall. She didn't ask immediately. She waited. That was something I had begun to notice about her. She didn't force things out of me. She let them come naturally. They want me to meet someone, I said finally. Her posture stiffened slightly, but she kept her voice calm. Someone? A guy, I said bluntly. Silence. I glanced at her. Say something. She looked away for a moment, then back at me. What do you want? The question caught me off guard. What do I want? I repeated. Yeah, she said. Not your parents. Not your relatives. You. I stared ahead, my thoughts tangled. I don't know, I admitted. That's okay, she said softly. But don't let them decide for you before you figure it out. It's not that simple, I said. You know how people think, how they talk. It's not just about me. I know, she said. I've lived that. Then you also know what happens when you go against it. I do. And yet you're still here, I pointed out. She gave a small smile. Because some things are worth the consequences. I didn't respond. Because I wasn't sure if I was that brave yet. The meeting happened anyway.
I didn't have the energy to fight it that day.
The guy was polite, educated, exactly the kind of person families approve of. We sat in the living room, talking about safe topics, studies, future goals, expectations. Everything felt rehearsed, like I was reading from a script I never agreed to. At some point, he smiled and said, "You seem quiet. Is everything okay?" I hesitated. And then, for the first time in my life, I didn't lie. I don't think this is what I want, I said. The room went still. My parents exchanged looks. The guy's expression shifted, confused but not angry. Oh, I see. I'm sorry, I added. You're not the problem. I just don't want this. He nodded slowly. That's fair. But the real storm didn't start until he left. What was that? My mother demanded. You embarrassed us, my father added. I was honest, I said, my voice steady despite the fear building inside me. Honest about what? My mother snapped. What exactly do you want then? The question hung in the air, heavy, unavoidable, and for a second, I almost backed down, almost said something safe, something expected. But then I thought about Lena, about the way she came back, about the way she stayed, about the way she chose herself, even when it was hard. I don't want to marry a man, I said. Silence.
Sharp.
Immediate. Unforgiving. What are you saying? My father's voice lowered. I'm saying, I don't see my future that way. My mother's eyes filled with disbelief. This is because of that girl, isn't it? The neighbor? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. That's not real, she said quickly. This is confusion. It will pass. It's not confusion, I replied. You're ruining your life, my father said coldly. No, I said quietly. I'm trying to live it. The argument didn't end neatly. There were raised voices, accusations,
tears.
And when it was over, I walked out of the house, my chest tight, my hands shaking. I didn't know where I was going until I saw her. Lena was standing outside, like she had been waiting again. She took one look at me and stepped closer. What happened? I told them, I said, my voice breaking slightly. Everything. Her expression softened, but there was pride in her eyes too. And they're not okay with it, I said. I didn't expect them to be, she replied gently. I let out a shaky laugh. Yeah, me neither. For a moment, I just stood there. Then I asked the question that had been sitting in my heart for weeks. Why did you really come back, Lena?
She didn't hesitate this time.
Because I realized that running away from something real doesn't make it disappear, she said. And what I felt for you, it was real. It still is. My heart pounded. And you? She asked softly. What do you feel? I looked at her, at the girl who once felt like a moment, then became a memory, then a complication, and now, something much deeper. You scare me, I admitted. She smiled faintly. I get that a lot.
Not like that, I said.
You scare me because when I'm with you, I don't feel confused anymore. Her breath caught slightly. And that means this is real, I continued. And if it's real, then I have to face everything that comes with it. She stepped closer. Then don't face it alone, she said. That was it. That was the moment everything finally made sense. Not perfectly, not magically, but enough. I reached for her hand. This time, I was the one who didn't let go. I don't know what the future looks like, I said. I don't know how hard this is going to get. It's going to be very hard, she said honestly. I smiled slightly. Yeah, I figured. But, she prompted. But I know one thing, I said. What's that? I don't want to live a life that doesn't feel like mine. Her eyes softened. And you feel like yours? She asked. I nodded. Yeah, I whispered. You do. For a second, neither of us moved. Then she leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away. But I didn't. This kiss wasn't like the first one. That one was unexpected.
Confusing.
This one was different.
It was a choice. Clear. Certain.
When we pulled away, nothing felt rushed anymore. Nothing felt unfinished. I'm not disappearing this time, she said quietly. You better not, I replied. Or you'll come find me? I smiled.
No.
She raised an eyebrow. I'll drag you back myself. She laughed, soft, genuine. And for the first time since that night at the party, everything felt right again. Not perfect,
Not easy.
but real. And sometimes real is all you need for a happy ending. Because love isn't about avoiding struggles. It's about choosing each other, again and again, even when the world makes it difficult. And as I stood there, holding her hand under the quiet night sky, I knew this wasn't just a moment anymore. This was our life. And this time, we weren't running from it.